We definitely don't want to try and be a statue. That's not the point, just to be as still as possible. It's just finding a comfortable seat, and that can be even on a cushion. So putting a cushion underneath the bum, or underneath the legs, underneath the feet, maybe a cushion even behind the back. Choosing to support yourself however you need in this moment, and recognizing that every moment may be different. Every night, every day may be different in what our body requires and what our body needs. So choosing to support those differences instead of pushing past them or pretending as if they don't exist. So this is something else that begins to manifest with meditation sometimes, is this relationship with the self, is having compassion with ourselves, and simply just taking this time just to slow down, to settle the thoughts, to allow ourselves to relax, is a really beautiful act of self-care. So even tonight, if you don't feel as if you're meditating, or if you're not quite grasping maybe some of the things I'm saying, not to worry. Again, just sitting and relaxing is having profound effect and benefit to you, whether it's body, mind, or spirit. So I'll be talking throughout our meditation. For those of you who are new, I'll probably give a few minutes of silence here, a few minutes of silence there, maybe even up to 5 minutes or so of silence. And then everything I say will just be cues to kind of get us back to the present moment and get us back on track. But if at any time you're feeling as if you're enjoying what you're visualizing or where you are in your mind, feel free to stay there. Everything I say are just tips, so listening to yourself first and me second. Welcome, Anton. So we found our space now. We're beginning to settle into wherever we're sitting. We've turned off the screens or machines around us, besides our computer, of course, and we're comfortable. So let's all take a few breaths together, as I find this can help bring us all onto the same page and relax us. So let's bring our shoulders up to our ears with a big breath in. So your next breath in, breathe in through the nose and bring the shoulders up. And exhale, roll them down. Let's do that 2 more times. So inhale, bring shoulders up, breathing through the nose. Exhale through an open mouth. Roll the shoulders down. And one more, maybe with an audible sigh. So inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, sigh it out. And continue to breathe at your own pace. Let's all close the eyes if you feel comfortable, or you can leave your gaze open or gaze just soft. And we do have pictures there, as you notice, picture of the tree. I won't be changing it throughout, but if at any time it becomes overwhelming to have the eyes closed or just uncomfortable, feel free to open the eyes for a moment. You can bring the gaze onto the tree if that feels good. You can bring the gaze just down to the floor or on something else perhaps in the room that makes you feel at ease. And then you could perhaps practice dimming the eyelids again or even closing them. So our eyes are dim or closed. And then maybe just sitting back into your support. So if you're in a chair, bringing your back up against the back of the chair. And then just beginning to settle in a little bit. So noticing perhaps with the eyes closed, that there already may be a sense of relief. Now our visual world can be very stimulating. I would even go as far as saying overstimulating. Especially if we drive a lot or walk a lot, there's signs, there's lights, there's flashing, there's people. Not to mention everything that goes on in our minds or perhaps on the radio, songs. There's just a lot of stimulation throughout the day. Some days more than others, of course. So perhaps just tuning in right now and noticing if with the eyes closed we may feel a sense of relief. or a sense of relaxation. So almost as you would after a big sigh, feel free to take another if that felt good. Tuning out our visual world, tuning out one of our senses can be relieving and can automatically bring awareness from the outside in. So exploring that connection now, let's just begin to notice our body. Don't worry about what you feel or what you think you should feel. Just notice. As you peek in or as you begin to become aware of the body, what's going on? What's coming up? And sometimes there may be something that's right there as we tune in. Perhaps it's the shoulder, perhaps it's the knees, perhaps the back, the stomach. Maybe there's something that comes up. When we say physical body, when we look in, there's something there waiting for us. And that's okay if that's happening. Just beginning to notice. So it's not about judging our experience, and that's something we'll probably revisit a few times tonight, is releasing judgment. Something we're very, very good at. Something that we get in the habit of is constantly judging and weighing our experiences, our sensations, our thoughts. So for right now, just noticing the physical body and then perhaps picturing the body as if it were a clenched fist. The entire body is clenched like a fist. It's closed off, it's tight, it's reactive. And then on your next exhale, see if you can relax the body. Like a fist that's being opened into a wide palm. Like a flower that's opening to the rain. Allow the body to be open to this experience, to be relaxed. Allow anything you feel to release. Remembering again, this is a practice, so this may be something you have to do more than once. But for right now, just allowing our body to be a reflection to our mind. You may have noticed before this connection, feeling stressed out or worried or anxious, and this reflection it has in our body. So instead of moving from our thoughts to our body, having the opposite effect now, allowing our body to relax so our mind may begin to relax and still. Feel free to pick up your toes in the air or on the floor and spread them apart and allow them to relax or to touch the earth. Coming back into our body can be a good way to come back to the now. Especially if we have a lot going on outside of ourselves, a lot happening in our life. Sometimes just returning to the body, to the toes, can be a way to feel grounded and to feel present. See if you can release the thighs. See if you can gently begin to lift the heart. And oftentimes we're very rounded, especially if we are dealing with something that may feel very heavy in our life. Our shoulders may even begin to round, so we're reflecting this in the body. So see if in this moment you can gently lift the heart forward, maybe just a few centimeters. And then notice how this may make some more room for breath. As the heart lifts, the chest opens. And there's more room for your breath to move. There's more room for your digestive organs. can really bring a feeling too of confidence. Sometimes just lifting the heart. Continuing to just move up the body, see if you can relax the jaw. Sometimes we clench our teeth, we clench our mouth. If we are stressed, or even if we don't perceive ourselves as stressed, but our thoughts are running wild, we can clench our jaw and even be walking around with a grimace and wondering why the world is not smiling back. Just begin to relax the jaw, separating teeth. Relax the temples, and then allow the eyelids to just rest very lightly on your cheekbones. The eyelashes just touch the cheekbones. So trying not to squint the eyes or to scrunch them really tight, just allowing them to be soft and gentle. The forehead is smooth. And the crown of the head perhaps lifts up just gently to the sky. Perhaps sensing the entire body now open and relaxed. And then if you haven't already, begin to invite your breath in. Breathe in through the nose, maybe feeling the chest rise gently, perhaps feeling the breath move to the torso as it rises. And as you exhale, perhaps feeling the diaphragm move down, the legs relax, the belly relaxes. Gently guiding the breath in through the nose, filling up with air, filling up with that nourishment. And exhaling at your own time, slow, deep. Continuing to breathe at your own pace. Remembering just as the physical posture, there's no right way or wrong way to breathe in this moment. There's no way that this breath should feel or shouldn't feel like. Trying to elongate the breath if we can. This long quality of breath that helps to tell our nervous system that all is well for this moment. It's this quality of breath that helps to switch us into that parasympathetic state, where our body can get into rest and digest and restore mode, where our immune system can be proactive instead of reactive. So especially if you're beginning meditation, or even if you've been practicing for a while, always remembering the breath as that anchor to the present moment. So our breath is always with us. It's never in the future or the past or the should-haves, could-haves, would-haves. The breath is right here, so returning back to it at any time. Returning back to the sensation, perhaps, of it moving through the body. Or maybe the sound, continuing to take audible exhales and inhales. Using your breath as you would a lantern in the dark. Using your breath to shine light, so to speak, on this moment, on you. And gently bringing awareness perhaps a little bit deeper and just noticing if there's a lot of thoughts tonight. As you peek in, is there a lot coming up for you? Or maybe there's just one thought that keeps coming back and around and forward, asking for your attention, asking for your energy, for your time. And don't worry if you can't identify your thoughts or label them. Just simply noticing. Am I feeling a sense of overwhelm? Is there a lot going on? Is it chaotic, or perhaps is it spacious? Whatever is going on right now in your minds, know that it's okay, and know that you're not alone. This may be your practice tonight, is trying to create space between you and those thoughts. So it's not about pretending that the thoughts don't exist or bullying them out of our heads. When we begin to notice them with practice, we can acknowledge them as they are, just thoughts, not you. You don't exist in your thoughts. You are that awareness that can see them. So as we see them come up, perhaps in this moment, perhaps in the next, maybe with your next exhale, allowing them to go. So practice here can be seeing your thoughts, placing them into a balloon, so seeing yourself in your mind's eye, pulling sentences out of your mind, putting them into a balloon and gently allowing that balloon to float away from you into the sky. And you may need more than one balloon, more than 10. So this can be a way just to create some space for right now. It's important to remember too that some of those thoughts may be very relevant. They may deserve and be very appropriate to put our attention toward. But know that they will all be there for you. They will all be waiting when you are ready for them. Something meditation can provide is this calm space where, with practice, when we begin to stay there and we return to our thoughts, we sometimes do so with a different understanding or a different perspective. Because we may be coming from a place of space instead of reactivity. Not to worry about what all of that means. We want to create space. All we have to do is breathe. Continue to allow yourself to be here, whatever that means. Perhaps lastly, just bringing some awareness to our energetic state tonight. Noticing any sensations, anything wanting to hide out, or maybe something wanting to get out. Acknowledging sensations that arise, just as we do thoughts that arise, just as we do breath. We see all of these experiences coming up, and we choose to let go, we choose to release, we choose to create space. So meditation does have intention. It does require effort. Continually, with compassion, of course, guiding yourself back. And it does get easier as we practice to be kind to ourselves and to return without getting caught up perhaps in one thought and then the next and then the next. Perhaps now just noticing your experience without judging it. Just sitting back, beginning to settle back. Beginning to settle in. And beginning to settle down. Allowing a sense of relaxation to move through you. Allowing doubt and fear and perhaps anxiety to take no footholds in your space. Allowing this sense of perhaps calm or peace to wash over you with each breath. Noticing if the mind has begun to take you away. That's okay if it has, that's normal. Noticing is what this practice is about. So when and if that happens, gently bring yourself back, perhaps to your breath, perhaps to your body, perhaps to the simple and profound intention to allow. So often, bless us, we're pushing and fighting back against life, against the moment. This is often the ego, which has a very disordered relationship with the now. The ego, or our small self, is always trying to take us away, and whatever that looks like to you. So oftentimes when we begin to consider our relationship with the present moment, this also impacts our relationship with life, as life and the present moment are connected and are inseparable. Consciously perhaps opening the door, noticing any of that pushback, if it's happening, that perhaps reactivity to being still or to this experience, and seeing if you can instead open the door, allow yourself to be here, unencumbered. Oftentimes we spend a lot of our days seeking, a lot of our days searching, trying to accomplish, trying to complete tasks, trying to be successful, trying to complete ourselves, searching for love as if it's absent, searching for joy as if it's absent, searching for peace as if it's absent. All of the seeking and searching, not only for our day, but sometimes a week, sometimes a lifetime, can be exhausting. It can be very cultural as well. Even if we don't intend to do this, we get swept up in it at times. This constant need and desire. It can be interesting if you catch yourself in these thoughts or in this pattern. So when we begin to observe the mind as we do in meditation, we begin to observe a lot of sometimes interesting things about ourselves, sometimes humorous. Instead of seeking right now, just beginning to yield. Yielding in this moment to life. Allowing life in this moment to happen to you. And breathing into it. Continually giving yourself permission to be unencumbered. Using your exhales continually to create space between you and your thoughts, you and doubt, you and anxiety, you and fear. Allowing those again to take no footholds. Allowing only space and peace and breath. Perhaps just realizing, becoming aware that we do have a say-so in this process. Even though at times we may feel very powerless because of the circumstances in our life, our reactivity or our perspective or our energy can be something that we begin to take more of an active role in. Can have a lot of benefit when we begin to see life and to see us and to see each other as we are, instead of what our thoughts sometimes tell us should be. Someone described this to me once as the sun. Knowing that we're that light, or that awareness, or that sun, that light behind the clouds, peeking out. And the wonderful thing happens when we begin to realize that we have that power. We step into that light. We step into that warmth. What happens is that we don't have to apologize. When we realize we're that warmth, we're that presence, that awareness, that consciousness, We stop complaining about the rain. Not to worry if you don't quite understand what this means. Just allowing yourself to be. Instead of sitting in the audience, perhaps watching your life as a movie, sitting back into the director's chair. Sitting back. Knowing that we have a say-so as to which thoughts we'd like to nurture and grow, what themes we'd like to explore, and which ones perhaps we'd like to cut or to release, to create space from. And sometimes it can be simply just this awareness of our personal power. This awareness can have a really profound effect on how we see ourselves, how we see the world. Coming away from all of that busyness that you may feel that may be trying to draw you places, and leaning back into that sun, into that warmth, into that seat, into you. Knowing that for this moment you're completely whole, you're complete. You are what you seek. Allowing any sense of peace or any sense of calm to be breathed into every cell. Allowing yourself to feel completely supported by the chair that you're in, by the floor, by the earth, by life. If you're in a place visually that makes you feel content or relaxed, feel free to be there. Sometimes visualizations can be really relieving in meditation. Feel free to go to that place, perhaps that comes up, perhaps that's quiet. Maybe a still lake or a garden. Perhaps seeing yourself or sensing lying down in the grass. Perhaps a quiet forest or a field of flowers. Noticing if you've lost the breath, and gently reconnect. Allowing the nourishment of each breath to move in like a gift, to move slowly like waves on a beach. Gently watching and sensing the breath coming in as a wave would linger on the sand for a moment. Allow the breath to be held at the top of your inhale just for a brief moment. And allow for your exhale, long and deep. Just as the water would be pulled back to the ocean and would linger there for a moment. Linger before your next inhale. And then allow for your breath to move inward effortlessly. Just as the wave would come back onto the sand. Without questions or comments. The space between the breath can be a really nice place to return to. It's a place that's always with us. It's the same for the space in between our thoughts, that with awareness it's always there. Even if the mental noise can be heavy or thick at times, there does exist this stillness in everyone. There does exist this place of calm and peace and quiet. We only have to take a moment to find it. And then practice being there. And then with more and more practice, we may even get to begin to operate from that space. We're moving more into a place of authenticity, moving away from reaction, and speaking more or expressing ourselves more from that authentic or intuitive voice. Breathe into this quiet and space now if it's there for you. And very gently, just beginning to open your ears. Perhaps the eyes still stay closed for a moment, and opening the ears up to the space that you're in. Noticing sounds in your space. Noticing sounds far away from you. Noticing sounds close by. It can be a whole sensory world to experience and become aware of. Beginning to deepen your breath. When you're ready, you can float your eyes open, coming back visually to our space. Feeling free to stretch the arms, perhaps overhead. Maybe stretching the arms behind you, maybe giving yourself a twist if you're in a chair. One hand maybe on the thigh, one hand on the back of the chair, just twisting. Maybe reaching for your toes, giving yourself a nice pull in. Feeling free to move around as you like. And perhaps bringing your hands together if you feel comfortable at your heart. Bowing your head to your palms. Just taking one last moment here to just thank yourself for showing up for you tonight.